Are you excited about tonight's NBA draft? You excited?
Of course I am.
Why so?
You're not?
What's standing? So I'm excited about like the first few picks, and then I want to see who the Heat get. But
wait, Theo.
yeah.
You say you're excited about the first. You're not excited about the first few picks, or you are?
No, more so because I like to watch them, right? So I want to see Cooper Flag get his name called, him come up. I want to see the post draft interview thing with I'm guessing Monica McNutt or whoever's going to be doing it. I want to see some of the conversation around it. So I like the first 45 minutes or so of the draft, and then I just want to see if the Heat end up with my guy Walter Clayton or not out of Florida. That's all I care about right now. Maybe a trade up.
When you see the draft and you see pick one, what do you expect it to be?
Cooper Flag.
2?
Dylan Harper.
What team do you think Dylan Harper is going to be drafted
I
by?
think they still going to the Spurs. Are you telling me? Have you been having conversations? Is this a Milwaukee Bucks pick? Is that what you're hinting at?
No. It wouldn't shock me if the Spurs didn't take him at 2 because maybe another team would.
Wow. Another team. Now, there's a lot of teams in the NBA.
I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me. I'm not reporting anything. Okay. I'm not a reporter. Okay. I'm just telling you, if you played out a scenario in which Dylan Harper out of Rutgers, Ron Harper's son, the former Chicago Bull, Cleveland Cavalier, etc., you told me that he goes number 2 overall, and the Spurs were not the team he was on, I believe that.
Now, he probably still would have to wear the Spurs hat because the NBA is still.
Oh, drives me nuts. That thing is so stupid. Why tonight, if Dylan Harper, let's say, 2 overall, we know he's on another team. I don't know. And let's say the team it's not black and silver like the Spurs. I don't know. It's green and white, hypothetically. Yeah. And he's wearing a hat that's the Spurs hat, but he's not on the Spurs. How stupid is that?
I don't like it. I absolutely don't like it. And here's why I don't like it. The reasoning behind the NBA doing it doesn't make sense to me. If there is a reported trade that we think is 95% to 98% going to go through, like what happened with Luka Doncic and Trae Young, and we know it before the names are even called, I would rather you put the correct hat, the new hat on the player and let them have that actual draft moment of actually feeling like, okay, I'm with the Mavericks now, I'm Luka. And then if it gets recalled, then let that be the once in 60 years that it happens, and then we will go back. Instead, the NBA wants to do it backwards every single freaking time, and I don't get it. Do you
know, double check this, go to Tankathon and check this. I'm pretty sure as of now, listen to what I'm saying, as of now, I'm pretty sure picks 14 through 30, every single one of them has been moved except for pick 28 by the Boston Celtics as of now.
Yes.
So meaning, depending on when trades can be finalized, there are going to be a number of players wearing the wrong hats tonight.
Doesn't make sense.
Ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense.
I understand it's a nitpick for some. Here's what I'll tell you, Theo. I think tonight has a chance to be explosive. I think tonight has a chance to change the NBA in terms of traditional powers over the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe no longer being powers on purpose. Moving on from big-time players.
So you think the Celtics are going to make a move? I'm just saying,
it would not surprise. The Boston Celtics are a team that has already started to move off of players in Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
Right.
And I thought the Celtics would potentially be done with that. My gut feeling right now is that don't be surprised, not guaranteeing anything or reporting anything, obviously, but don't be surprised if that was the beginning of the Celtics purge and not the end. How about that? Is that fair?
I like it. I agree with you in multiple senses. Number one, the Tatum injury obviously changes everything about how they feel about their championship window. Number two, that luxury tax bill that the new ownership is clearly trying to avoid with some of these moves. But then thirdly, again, the new ownership angle. Like nothing is off the table these days when it comes to new ownership. That's why I'm also curious what happens out there in Minnesota, which has been a super quiet team ever since they've gotten eliminated. But are there going to be any new ownership moves with them? the Miami Heat have been under the same consistent ownership, and that's why consistently every offseason we keep swinging and missing at the big-time free agents and trade acquisitions.
Yeah, so I don't know anyone currently that knows what the Heat are doing.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that the Heat don't know what they're doing. I just have not talked to anyone that says to me, here's what I think is going to happen. Because I've talked to people about the top of the draft within the last, 10 minutes, about maybe some
That's why you relate, huh?
the real top of the draft, not Dallas, and what could potentially happen. So, but this is where my mind has been going crazy, Theo. I literally yesterday sent over to our buddy Jeremy Marspell, JMP, my trade machine dork like myself, a 4-team deal that had the Heat acquiring Paul George and Bradley Beal. Oh. So this is where my mind is at. I am so all over the place with the Miami Heat right now that 1 minute I'm like, you know what? Like, continue this and don't do anything too drastic. 1% improvement and hope that guys just get better and that you have a better situation this year. Okay, that's ridiculous. Right. Then I have everyone but Khalil Ware, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero and Kevin Love. Everyone but those guys can go. Right? Every one of them. And I don't mean that in a dismissive sort of way. Let me try to find trades that make sense. Jonathan Kuminga in the sign and trade. The Golden State, the Sacramento deals with DeRozan and Devin Carter, former lottery pick who was the son of former Heat guard and assistant coach Anthony Carter. So we've gone that route, right? Then it's like, wow, you think they could ever get in on the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes if that happens? No. Do you think they could ever get in on Giannis? No. Do you think they could ever get in on Kawhi Leonard if they were going to move him? No. And then I go to the place of, well, what if you thought about trading Bam and Tyler? And would you do it for a superstar like Giannis? Would you say to the Bucks, hey, Bam and Tyler for Giannis and all the picks and all the young players and just start a franchise over building around Giannis? Or what if I told you went the complete opposite direction and you started making phone calls around the league and you said, let's come up with a list of the worst contracts in the NBA that teams would pay to get off of.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, if they got those guys in Miami, they'd probably still be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I told you right now, straight up, you could make this deal. Andrew Wiggins and Terry Rozier for Paul George. Would you do it?
Okay. The only contingency I would have is can we put the podcast on hold? Do you think Spo and Pat Riley are cool with him doing a podcast throughout the season, especially if he's not even playing? Because I would do it. I
think to get out of that situation in Philly, to come to Miami with the Heat, to actually be looked upon as a positive, I think he would do that. And I think that there's a chance that Philadelphia would actually make that deal to get out of that awful contract.
Yeah.
But again, my point is, awful contracts because they have young players they're hoping to build around. Miami is desperate for a direction. Yeah. So while I'm not suggesting that Paul George is the same player he once was, and I'm not suggesting that contract is good, I'm suggesting my mind over the last 24 hours has gone so many different places that it includes the concept of convincing myself that a trade for Paul George or Bradley Beal, if he were to waive his no trade clause, former Gator, would make sense. I know that both of them don't, Theo.
Yeah.
But that's where my mind has gone.
But that also shows you just how crazy tonight can get in the NBA draft, which, by the way, you can listen to ESPN 106.3 tonight for coverage on the draft. It shows you just how wild and how many ways it can go in. So that's why, yes, I will have it up on my TV screen. I will be waving in and out of my attention towards it. But I am curious if the Heat make any move at all to try and give me some optimism for this next year, because the East is wide open. The Atlanta Hawks think they have a chance at winning the East. That's how bad it is right now. Yeah.
But they should with the move they made yesterday.
I know. You go bring in Kristaps Porzingis. Now you got a bunch of length and defensive prowess all around Trae Young, who's a great fulcrum of the offense. I actually like what they're building. I'm just saying.
Me too.
If that's what we have, if that's it.
I'm going to tell you something. About a week ago, before the Kevin Durant trade, I got a text from somebody in South Florida business community, okay? And this person said to me, I'm thinking of getting 4 extra tickets for the Heat this year for my business to utilize, okay? And this person said, you think KD's coming to Miami? I said, this is before KD obviously got traded to Houston. And I said, it's possible. Everybody's been telling me it's a possibility. And I said to this person, if not KD, they have to get someone. So it's probably worth the risk to get the 4 extra tickets. Because, listen, the Heat are now competing for the dollar with the Panthers, who are the hottest ticket in town, right? For the last 20 years, it was the Heat. The Panthers have obviously surpassed them in terms of, if you run a business in Palm Beach County, Treasure Coast, South Florida in general, and you have finances to purchase 4 tickets from the great organization that is the Miami Heat, or 4 additional season tickets for home games.
Yeah.
For your business to use, to work in with whatever it is, there's a chance you may go with the Panthers.
Yeah.
Right? There's a chance you may. And what I said to this person is, I still believe the Heat are going to get someone. But you tell me, who's the realistic someone they get that gets that person in the South Florida business community satisfied with their investment of 4 extra tickets, season tickets?
That's the thing is, like, are the Pelicans going to make Zion available or something? Like, is Ja Morant on the move?
Stop there.
Yeah.
Stop there. Zion gets that person satisfied with their investment if they get him to the Heat. That business owner is then saying, "Oh, I got the 4 tickets before they rightfully raised the prices because now it's hot."
You bought low.
So we can sit there and say, maybe Zion's not going to be that good. Maybe he's not going to play the whole time. You and I would talk next week about Zion, and we'd have a different feeling about the Heat. We'd get excited again.
I do believe, and maybe this is a game we could play through the summer, like almost like a stock market type deal with the NBA teams. If you think about season tickets, I would buy the dip on the Miami Heat because if not even this year, over the next 2 years, you know they're not going to just be satisfied rolling out what they have right now. It's just a question of what and when will they finally have enough to acquire said talent. I would not go into tonight with that kind of expectation that something good will happen because you might end up just as displeased as we've been over the past few off seasons.
Yeah, but think about what you just said.
Yeah.
And that is the sad state of affairs. I'm a blind faith with Pat Riley guy. So I have blind faith that whatever they do tonight will work out. And you are now at the point where you have blind faith that you can't assume it will work out. That's wild to me. Because even if they straight up take a pick at 20, did you and I sit here a year ago like, oh, Khalil Ware is going to be a guy that'll be a great? No, all anyone said is he's not an effort guy.
Yeah.
Which is wrong, obviously.
Yeah, he is. What I'll say is this. I believe it will work out as in, like, yes, the Heat will still be a middle-of-the-road Eastern Conference team that competes, that is well-coached, that has great culture. But to me, the bar for working out for the Miami Heat is the bar that they have set over the past 20 years, and that's competing for at least a spot in the NBA Finals. And I don't think there's anything they do tonight that changes that. So, but we'll be watching. We'll be locking in. We'll be watching. So, Evan, I appreciate you getting us more excited for the NBA draft. What you got? You got something huge to close, I can tell.
One more tiny quick thing. Plug 5P to 7P Sunday. In addition, on Sportsmanlike 6A to 10A every day here on ESPN West Palm. This Sunday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., I'm hosting a free agency special on ESPN Radio with Tim Bontemps. Of course, you hear him on the Hoop Collective podcast. Yeah. So 5P to 7P will be on 24 hours before free agency begins. So a special Sunday show for Bontemps and I, 5P to 7P, obviously right here on ESPN 106.3.
I love it. I'll be just getting off a boat, so I'll make sure I tap in on that. Thank you, Evan. The man.
Normally you have big events during Super Bowls, Game 7s. I mean, I'm surprised. There's like nothing going on Sundays. You're actually going to do something fun.
Yeah.
You should have saved that for the Panthers Game 7. That's weird.
Things have changed. Things have changed, Evan. And we appreciate your time. Enjoy the new studio and your new hotel room. That is our guy,